Hi, I'm Christy Tomlinson, mixed media artist, and this is Art Redefined, where there are no rules, just messy creative play. Today I have guest Danielle Donaldson, and she's going to be teaching us how to use coffee filters. So whether you're a coffee drinker or not, stay tuned for some inexpensive art using coffee filters. Okay, we are back, and I am so excited about today's guest, Danielle Donaldson. Welcome, sweets.
Thank you so much.
Excited to have you. Danielle Donaldson is a mixed media artist, jewelry artist. She is a creative genius. I just love her work, and I'm in awe of what she does. She's also a fine art artist as well. So she is going to show us how to use coffee filters on art as backgrounds and lots of other things, right?
Definitely. Have lots of really fun projects that are easy to involve your kids with, as well as, you know, when you have that quiet time alone with that cup of coffee, and some really fun techniques. And let's get started.
All right, yeah, let's get started. So these are just basic coffee filters, right? You can get them anywhere, any store.
So this is our first coffee filter, and what we do is just spread out your coffee filters, and I'm going to grab a couple of blank ones after I show them. And take your stamps. Make sure you use the Stays On ink because it doesn't bleed with water, and because we're going to watercolor them after we stamp them, we want to make sure it takes hold.
That's good to know. And that's probably with a lot of mixed media, we always use the permanent, you know, archival or Stays On or whatever, just because it is permanent. It just dries quickly and mixes well with Mod Podge, because Mod Podge is water soluble, so if you put that on it, it'll smear it as well if you don't use it.
Right, and I'm a really messy artist, so in general, I like the accidents that happen. So I will use some water-based pads, and they create a completely different effect. But when I want to keep an image in its entirety, I always use a Stays On ink pad.
Awesome. Okay, so these have already been stamped. And so what is the technique that you're going to show me how to do once it's been stamped?
We'll start with using watercolor crayons, and what you're able to do is just mix this as a palette on your craft sheet.
Okay.
And grab a brush and get one of your favorite colors, and basically just start creating a palette on your craft sheet.
So you just like that?
Yep.
And then a brush, and I'm going to grab some water. And then just start coloring it in?
Yep. Very easy to do. And why I like these techniques is because when I started out eons ago in working with fine arts, my passion was watercolors. And so I'm always looking for ways to keep things translucent with color.
I love that.
You can also color directly onto it and then add water after. That will make it a little bit brighter with a little bit different effect.
Let's try that. And you want to color those in? And I don't know about you, but whenever I use the crayons, I don't stay inside the lines. Is that okay?
I'm not an inside the lines person at all. But
awesome. Love
what you can do with that is just paint, you leave the background white, you can paint with watercolors after, and you'll get kind of a double effect, and then you can kind of hoard them and keep a stash of them, and when you're ready to paint or come up with some sort of craft, you have a whole bunch of backgrounds ready for you.
That's awesome. Okay, so our next technique that you're going to show me is stenciling. Stenciling is one of my favorite things that I love to do. These are some of Danielle's samples that she's already done. I love the bright, vivid color. And a lot of what you do is subtle, but this is one of the bright things that you do. So do you want to show us, what's the first step? Obviously, you need a coffee filter that's plain.
Yes.
And then I'm guessing a stencil.
Yes. So I have a couple of stencils right here.
Okay.
You can use this one or the square.
And do I just lay it on top of the...
You're just going to lay it on top.
And then just spray
it? Go ahead and spray.
Okay. Is there any special way?
There isn't a special way with each one I think
How cool that is.
They all turn out different. And that's the greatest part about it.
That is so cool.
I have been known to be a little creatively anal, and you have to let that piece of it go and just play with it. It's a great thing, again, to do with your friends and your kids, because you can just line them up and then you have a stash of backgrounds waiting for you.
That is awesome. Okay, so the next technique I know is with stencils as well.
Yes.
But it's a little bit different, so I'm cleaning that up just a little bit for you.
And this is a little bit harder to see, obviously, but I think you'll get the idea, is what you're able to do on these is use an ink roller. And this is an embossing technique, actually. So what we'll do on this is we'll take this one.
Okay.
And we're going to put it underneath the filter instead.
That is so cool. And this is just punchinella, right?
Love it.
Just sequins waste.
Sequins waste, all sorts of different sizes. This works with a bunch of different mediums or stenciling mediums.
And so you're going to roll this on with...
We just roll it on.
Stamp ink?
Yes.
Okay.
So
and
we're
you
gonna
could do this with what? You could do this with paint or anything?
Anything you wanted to do. The
I
stamp
have
ink...
never sprayed with ink before. So I'm just rolling it into here. Mm-hmm. And put it onto here. Am I going to screw it up?
No.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh. I freaking love that.
I know. The thing
Look
to
at
keep in
that.
mind with
That is
this
awesome.
is that it is water-based. So
Okay.
if you splash a little bit of water on it,
Okay.
which is what I'm going to do because I think it's really cool.
Not sure how to close these. These are cool little pads.
As I flick water all over you, it will actually create some really, really cool patterns.
Oh, how
with
cool.
it.
So basically it just takes that the paint or
And
ink
spreads
and
it
spreads
out around the
That is the
edges, which I
coolest.
really, really like.
I
and if
love
you're ever
that.
really happy with how one of them looks and you don't want those patterns to
Mm-hmm.
be lost, go ahead and Mod Podge over both sides and let it sit, and that will seal
seals
in
it.
the color for you.
So these are another ones. And this one you said, you were telling me that you actually did this with just a die cut paper.
Yes.
So anything that has a design on it, or
Right.
whether it's a stencil or punchinella or paper,
Right.
it will work. And that is a really cool, that's a really cool
And because
effect.
the filters are so thin, you don't have to have a really thick stencil. You can have punchinella or even a die
Anything
cut
will work.
paper.
That is awesome. Okay, now what's the next one? You said it's with stencils as well.
It is with stencils. This is hard to see. It's kind of like disappearing ink. What I use is a gloss gel.
Okay.
Or you have it on your side. It's
Yep.
a clear gesso. And what you do is just take an extra filter. And all you're going to do is take the stencil again.
And just stencil it
And
right
just stencil
on
it with
that.
your, yep.
And then once it's dry,
Right.
then that's part where the technique comes in, right?
Right. So once it's dry, what will happen is the watercolor will resist wherever the clear gel or the clear gesso
anything
is.
work on that? So like if
Sprays
we were
will.
to use, do we want to try it with a watercolor crayon?
Sure.
Okay, let's do that.
Those.
And should I just scribble it across?
Scribble all over it.
Okay,
You can see the pattern coming out in it.
I love that. And I can already see how it's resisting it.
And then you can just add water. I'll let you
Oh,
do
I
the work.
love your brushes. Look at that, that is so cool.
It's a really cool effect. I like it again because it's fun. You don't get to see what's
So it
going
just,
to happen until
wherever
it happens.
the medium was, it resists the pattern that you had put on with the
Right.
gel. That
It
is
kind
so
of
cool.
creates a batik look, which I really,
love
really
it.
like.
That is so awesome. All right, well, show me a little bit more. So you were telling me that you can do these techniques as well with stuff besides coffee filters.
Yes.
So you can use any kind of like paper filters, right?
any kind of paper
And
filters.
these are just paper.
And those are just little mini cupcake
That is
liners.
awesome. And you can also do this on paper towels.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Let's see that. Oh my gosh, these are
So this is one that I
cute.
did. And what's fun about it is that these are just my cleanup towels.
Kind of like this one would be that we were using. to clean up.
Exactly. When I watercolor
That is
bunches and
awesome.
bunches of the watercolor filters, obviously my surface resists the watercolor, so I mop it all up, and then I have these great pieces of art left over.
That is so awesome.
So
I
another
love
thing
it.
that we can do right now is take one of these
Okay.
and take one of our handy dandy stencils again, because that's one of our favorites.
Just use that one.
And you can either add spray, or I have some acrylic paint there, and you can mix that right on there.
All right.
And that's going to give the same effect as the red one that I did.
Let me grab a stencil. And you can obviously do this with whatever, right?
Yep.
That is awesome. So you're just adding more layers and layers to what you've already done. I love that.
And what's really nice about those
spray
as well as the coffee filters, is when you get them to finished product, especially canvases, you can scrunch it together and give all sorts of layers and crevices to it that you can ink over after. I know.
Look how cool that is. That's just layer upon layer.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, I want to see, so once you get these coffee filters, I would love to see like some of this here. Like, tell me what this is right here.
So this is just a really simple craft mold that you can get. They come just like this at your craft supply stores, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, whatever in your area.
I've seen them in there.
And then all I've done is taken all of my coffee filters that I have and Mod Podged them,
layered over,
sealed them. This is actually with a gloss gel because I kind of like the shiny look to it. I added some ribbons to the top of it. And a cute little quote. And we did this so I could hang it in my daughter's room and change out the quotes.
You know what I love about the filters is because they're so thin, when you layer them, you can see the different layers through them, right? I love that. And so this little thing is covered in coffee filters too. And then you just also like doodled on it and stamped on it. That is adorable. So you just covered a cup with it.
Yes.
Love, love it. And then you have canvases, which are my favorite. Love to do. This is a canvas, and I'm assuming the background, correct?
This is. You can see the outlines here, and even I left the edges raw, so you can see where the filters are.
Overlap.
And I have another sample as well. This one's a little bit bigger.
That is so cool.
We'll put this out here. And
let's see.
This
I love it.
Is all coffee filters. And again, this is kind of all of these are coffee filters with pattern paper and paints and all sorts of yummy doodling all over it.
Love this.
But what's nice about it is that if you do this ahead of time, you do big stacks of them, then it takes the pressure off of you when you create different backgrounds.
I like this one too. This one has kind of you must have used the stenciling on it. And
I did. It was just a basic watercolor filter, and then all I did was Mod Podge over it and then stencil over it.
That is awesome.
We were good to go. And I like to do the edges as well. It's really
that is cute.
Forgiving and a good way to finish off a piece.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining
Thanks for having me.
You're awesome. This is like creative overload, and I cannot wait to go sit and you could really, like you said, do these with your kids, sit and watch TV and do them and have them ready for whenever you're ready to create art. So, well, thank you again for being on here. You're awesome. And thanks for joining me on Art Redefined and seeing creative ways to use coffee filters. And we'll see you next time.